Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my studio. This is Paint with Lovejoy. Thanks so much for joining me today. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button and check out my other videos on the channel. If this is your third or fourth video that you've checked out, thanks so much for your support, and I'm really glad you're getting creative at home. Really proud of you for doing that as well. So in this video, this is going to be geared towards my beginner painters. So those of you that just want to keep getting comfortable with painting, maybe explore some new subjects, explore more blending and some of the basics, these are good videos for you to utilize. With that being said, you have full permission to change out any colors or change anything about the video or about the painting process. That's the great part about creativity. You get to kind of make it your own. So what you're going to see in the description box below is what I call a link to a supply kit. And in that supply kit are the basic supplies that you need to paint at home. So use what you have at home, but if you need to grab some new stuff or you like what I'm using in the video, you can use that link just kind of as a guide for what you'll get there. Another thing that you're going to see is something that I call a traceable, and there's a link in the description box below for that as well. And a traceable is a way for my first-time and beginner painters to get the initial composition on the canvas before you even start painting. And there is also going to be a link for a video on how to transfer your traceable. So check out both of those and get your initial composition on the canvas and then jump into the process of painting. When you're ready to kind of take your skills to the next level, check out my online school, paintwithlovejoy.com. And I've got a few advanced beginner, some intermediate classes on there, and my signature Paint Your Pet class is on there, as well as my intro to palette knife scraping. Both you will learn a lot, and you'll learn some core foundational art skills in both of those courses. So please keep evolving your skills, keep painting, keep getting creative. Try to find a monthly outlet for yourself. I recommend that for everyone. All right, so I think that's enough talking right now. Let's go ahead and jump into the process of painting. All right, guys, this is going to be another fun Picasso painting, The Dream. So grab your supplies, transfer your traceable to your surface, and as always, make sure you take progress photos. Now what you're going to see on mine is I did go over my traceable with black Sharpie marker, and that's more for those of you at home that are going to draw what you see. So if you're using the traceable, don't have to do the black outlines. So we are starting with the background, and it's a dark green, and your choice if you do want to use just the direct green. So I've pulled the green aside. My green's already pretty dark, and I added a tiny amount of black. A little bit of black goes a long way. And you can kind of see where I put the line right to the right of her chin, and you're going to be filling it in kind of from the left-hand side of that line. Now, as you're applying the paint, if you're using student grade paint, apply your paint a little bit thicker so that way you have a bit more opaque coverage. And we'll do a little bit of blending today, so painting a little bit thicker is going to help the blending, especially when we get into the skin tone and the body of the figure here. I do want you to apply that paint thicker. So now we're wiping that brush off, grabbing just a little bit of that direct green and just kind of slapping it in the background there. We're going to grab black next for that bottom left-hand corner. And I am using that medium flat brush, but if you need to, you can always use the pointy brush as well. We're going to be working on quite a few tight little spaces today. So you're going to get good practice with your brush control and with your blending for the skin tone. So now you're going to clean the brush really good. We're going to go to red paint, and we're going to be painting that on the right-hand side. And my green is still wet, so you'll see where I leave a bit of a barrier, and then at the end I'll bring the red right up next to the green. And same thing, apply your paint thicker, and if you're on a stretched canvas, you can carry these colors around the sides of the canvas. It just looks nice hanging them on the wall, having this color wrap around the edge. Now, make sure you're breathing. If you're holding your breath, take a big inhale, just relax. If you are breathing, just laugh at me a little bit. All right, so here you can see where I grabbed just some black, slapped it on there, and then I wiped off my brush because I put a very small amount of black on there because a little bit goes a long way. And we're blending that directly into the red. Use light pressure with your brush, and if you even want to finger paint, this is kind of a fun place to do that. But like I said earlier, with this painting, you're going to get really comfortable with your brush control, smaller movements, and a lot of the wet on wet blending. So this is probably not the best one for a first-time painter, definitely more of a beginner, just that way you're going to build on your skills and get more comfortable. So pause the video and take your progress photo. I did get clean water too, so make sure you have clean water as we move into these light colors, and we're going to make a really light gray. And again, I want you to apply this kind of thick. We're going to do it in sections, so we're going to kind of build on this concept. So we're going to do her neck and shoulders and chest first. And again, applying that thick, and then we're going to grab the pointy brush and we'll apply a medium gray on top of this and blend it into our base light gray. So like I said, this is going to be great practice for blending. And I am going right over those traceable lines, those black lines that I put on there, so you do want to make sure that you're filling up all your space. So now we're making a medium gray, and I'm using that pointy brush, and just observe where I place it, and then we're going to wipe the brush off, and then with a slightly, non-pigmented brush, kind of blend that into the base. And again, you can kind of hold that brush at a 45-degree angle. Once you're done blending, I'm using the residual of that gray, darker gray that's on the brush to go to these other areas on the shoulders and kind of, I guess, the armpit area. And again, just light pressure. You'll see kind of the softness as it transitions into the lighter color. And the more that you paint, the more this gets comfortable. So we're doing the same thing, clean that brush. We're putting the direct white on the tops of the shoulders, and then same thing, blend that into the light gray. And you're going to notice as we do this that the darker colors, a little bit goes a long way, and then when we use that direct white or the lighter colors, it gets eaten up pretty quickly in the base color. So you almost need more of that pigment. And like I said, the more that you paint, the more this concept gets more comfortable, and the more natural it will be for your painting process. So we're going back to that light gray, and if you have to make it again, if it's a little bit darker or lighter than the last time, that's okay. And we're going to do this on her face. So we are putting that light gray on the entire face, and I'm painting right over my traceable lines, right over those dark lines. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did on the chest. We're going to take the darker gray, the medium gray, place it on there, and then blend it into the base. Now, if you have super fast drying paint, this is where a good quality student grade paint will help, and it'll give you a little bit more workability. So you might have to apply your paint thicker or work in even smaller sections. So adjust for what you need for your painting. So we did just grab that medium gray, and we're placing it kind of in that slit, kind of going right with the traceable, and then making a little hook for where the chin is. So you can pause the video and see a little bit closer where that's at, and then blending that into the top of the face. So again, kind of creating this shadow. And I do recommend that you pull up the original Picasso's painting and add anything that you see that I did not put on mine. Because again, you're just strengthening your power of observation, whether you're following the video or looking at the original. And then if you even want to take it in your own direction and add your own flair, go right ahead. So same thing, just kind of diluting that gray just a little bit, but putting it on the, I guess, the bottom section of the face. We will put some pure white in here in a moment. And you can see every now and then that I do wipe the brush off. That wipes off excess paint and makes it a little bit easier to blend. So you'll find your balance with this. Now doing the same thing with the white and kind of putting it on the top of the split of the face. And then I think, yep, we'll put a little bit on the top of that other side of the face. And then again, just a light little pressure, you can pull that into the base color. And when you're done with that, pause the video and take your progress photo. We're going to move into the arms. And we are still going with that light gray. I needed to make more, so I kind of just pulled that pile. So do whatever you need to do. And we're going to split the arm. Again, just observe kind of the direction of where this stops and starts. And then we're going to make that light gray again, lighter than what we were just using. We're going to fill in the top part of the arm, and then we're going to go back to that kind of medium to light gray and fill in the bottom part of the arm. Again, applying it kind of thick for good coverage and going over those traceable lines. So now using that medium gray, medium light gray, and filling in that bottom part, those little fingers, and the rest of the hand and arm. Again, remember to breathe. You're doing great. I'm proud of you for painting at home, and I do recommend that you paint on a regular basis. All right, so now going back to that light gray, and again, if you have to mix this a couple of times throughout the painting and there's a little variety, that's okay. It's more important that you're actually painting rather than just thinking about painting and not doing something. So using that light gray, filling in the other arm. We won't do too much shading on this one. And then we'll be filling in the bottom part of the body with a medium gray. And same that light gray for the half exposed breast. And again, going right over those traceable lines. So now making that medium gray, not as dark as we've made it before, but darker than what you were just using. There you go. And then filling in that bottom section. And if you happen to overlap one of the other areas, that's okay. You can cover it with the other color paint as we move along. And then here, once you've got that on there, we are going to go just a touch darker, so adding a little more black to that mixture just to kind of add a little bit of shadow. And again, just observe kind of the general place of where I'm putting it here, or where you're seeing it on the original Picasso. All right, oh, and we forgot the hair, so going back to the light gray, and we're putting that base on there. We're putting details on top of this. And then maybe just a touch darker in there just for a little diversity, your call. And then take your progress photo, and now we're going to move into a light green. And your green might be a little bit different than mine. Mine's kind of a spearminty green, but it's a lot of white and a tiny, tiny amount of green for this section of her outfit, the left-hand side, and then we'll go a little bit darker on that right-hand side. Again, getting pretty good coverage. And now making a bit darker, so just add a little more green to the pile you were just using. And you want to go about 2 shades darker than what you just placed on there. There we go. And if at any point you do want to do this painting with just the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, you can mix yellow and blue to make your green. So if you are in limited colors and you only have red, white, blue, yellow, and black, you can actually still do this painting. Just poses an extra little mixing challenge for you, but definitely doable. All right, coming along nicely. We're going to move into yellow next, and we're going to start, oh, take that back. We're going to move into medium blue. I forgot about this part. So we're basically, I think she's got like a bit of a belt and kind of doing the bottom part here, and you'll actually notice where I forget to use, put it in one area and then we go back and make it. So even when I painted it and when I talked about it, I forgot about this part. All right, so again, just observe where you see each of those lines, and then we're going to go back in and fill those in. I believe my paint is still wet when I did this, so it would actually be to your benefit to let your paint dry before you move into the blue paint. If you happen to be moving along like I am, it will kind of fit in here and blend in with the colors underneath. So I think here was the point where I realized I didn't fill in that particular section right underneath her arm, so just went back in with that kind of medium blue. So even as many times, as many years as I have been painting, there are still things that I forget and go along. And these are, you know, kind of good teaching moments. that there really is no right or wrong way to paint. It's just more important to go through the process of painting. And you can adjust anything that you need. So here, grabbing that blue, kind of just slapping it on there, just like we were doing with the shades of gray, wiping that brush off, and then just kind of blending it into the base color. And the more that you paint, the more you'll kind of get into the groove of this type of blending. And this is one of the therapeutic aspects of the painting process, just moving paint on a canvas. Okay, so now we're going to move into yellow and move on to the chair. So again, just placing this in a very specific spot that Picasso had put in his paintings, mimicking that to the best of our ability. And the yellow, I will actually make it a bit larger than what it is on the original painting, because red's a more powerful color. It will dominate and go right on top of the yellow. So I'll do that with the red when we move into that in the next step. All right, clean that brush, grab the red paint, and basically we're going to be filling in the remaining portion of the couch or the chair that she is dreaming on. And it should be, as you're applying this red here, it should be more pure red compared to the background where we had added a touch of black to make it a little bit darker. So there should be a slight visual difference. And here you can see I'm applying the paint thick and holding the brush at kind of a 45-degree angle so I can apply it thicker, kind of like icing on a cake. So you can either do this and apply it thick, or you can even apply 2 coats of paint with student grade paint. So there's always options. And then when you really enjoy painting, move up to artist grade paint, and it's a whole different ball game. Such a different texture, such a different and better coverage and consistency. So work your way up there and get comfortable with the process of painting before you buy the expensive paints. And here, as I'm overlapping the yellow a little bit, you can see where it is mixing a little bit. So just kind of play with that. And again, I was just trying to mimic a little bit of what Picasso had done on his painting. All right, so we laid that red down there, and then same thing, just a tiny bit of black just to kind of give a bit of a shadow on that portion of the chair. And then you're going to clean the brush really good, take your progress photo, and we're going to move into the pointy brush and black paint, and we're going to put the design on, I guess it was the wallpaper behind the chair. So they're basically going to be little triangles and diamond shapes. So just kind of start on the left-hand side, pause the video as needed. And if yours is a little bit off or a little bit different, or you put something else in there, totally okay. Because if you do look at the original Picasso, these are not straight lines. They are not lined up perfectly. There's a lot of style and a lot of movement to them. And as you're doing this, treating your brush kind of like a pencil will be to your benefit so that you can get these kind of skinnier lines. And also notice how I'm reloading my brush every 2 or 3 brush strokes. This helps me apply it a little bit thicker, and also applies the paint to the canvas instead of just going through the motions for the brush strokes. And again, if you kind of get off from what I'm doing, just make it up. These are lines, kind of anything goes. And then there'll be a little design in the center, and these are just kind of overlapping little circles. If you look at the original, I think it's like a little flower motif, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, again, just giving the illusion that we're copying a famous painting. And as you're doing this, if your brush is kind of shaky, that means you're holding your breath. So if you exhale as you touch the brush to the canvas, that will help with the process. All right, then we're going to start adding the black on the left-hand side. And again, just pause the video and see what you need. I apologize for the glare from one of my lights. It is going to be really hard to see that. So for this part, I do recommend that you pull up the original painting and just notice where these horizontal and vertical lines are stopping and starting. Or I believe at the end of the video, I'll have the final image. You can pause that. There won't be the reflection on it when I put that picture up. So no matter what in art, there's always variables that we have to deal with. And in filming, there's a lot of variables. So I do appreciate you guys enjoying the videos and bringing creativity into your world and growing with me as I've been doing this for a couple of years and learning with each and every single video I create. All right, and again, these are a little bit thicker lines than what we did on the other side, so maybe a little bit more pressure as you make those. And then we're going to start doing some of the outlines on the face, getting those the eye line on there, the eyebrows. We'll do a little bit with the lips. And again, I was just observing the original painting as to where some of the outlines actually were. So you can follow along with me or look at the original Picasso, and where you're going to see the outlines, add those to your painting. And again, light pressure with the brush. The more you do this, the more your muscles are going to remember what it's like to hold it, the pressure, maybe what it's like when your forearm is resting against the edge of the table, or maybe put your pinky out and use that as your pivot point for your wrist. But try different things. And as you're doing this, if you need to turn the canvas sideways, upside down, put it on your lap, whatever you need to do to adjust to make some of these lines a little bit easier. I will keep it in the same orientation just for the video. But again, adjust for what you need. That is half of art. And remember to breathe. You're doing great. And it is okay that if you maybe want to do this in 2 sessions, you can come back and do, this portion and then that stuff that we'll be doing. I believe we have some red and yellow lines that we'll be putting on here. But don't feel like you have to do it all at once. Or if you tend to take a long time to finish a painting, maybe challenge yourself and go, I'm going to finish this in 2 hours or 1 day or whatever. But the more that you can kind of challenge yourself in the creative process, the more opportunities your brain and your muscles have to learn as you're going through the process. And the opposite is true. If you're a speedy painter, force yourself to maybe slow down a little bit and take a little more time. All right, this is coming along nicely. And as you get into the final stages of this painting and really any painting that you do, I want you to get in the habit of propping the painting up and looking at it from a distance of 5 to 10 feet away. This is the normal viewing distance for most things in life, and especially artwork. So the more that you can kind of observe your own work from the vantage point that the viewer is going to be looking at it and making adjustments as needed, the more you can improve upon your skills and just keep growing. And generally things look better from a distance, so that's a nice kind of satisfying thing to see, especially in the beginning stages. All right, so now we're going to move over to red and start putting some of the details on, like the lips, and she's got kind of a half red, half yellow necklace, and then a few other places that I was noticing on the original that had the red lines, I think kind of around that forearm area. Again, keeping that light pressure. Exhale as you touch the brush to the canvas. And here making dots, you've got 2 options for dots. You can use the brush end and make a few dots, or what I just did, I don't know if you saw me flip the brush, but using the back end of the brush and to make the dots. And I like that just because then they stay a little bit more of the consistent size. And as you do this, grab more paint every 2 or 3 dots that you make. And we'll do the same thing with the yellow part of the necklace as well. Again, just kind of observing the direction that the necklace was making on the original painting. All right, so now going over to the yellow, clean your brush really good. You want to get all that red paint out so you don't make orange. We want to keep this yellow paint. And we're going to go into the hair and kind of give little lines that indicate that this is her hair. And I believe there's going to be a few other highlights on there, and then the rest of that necklace. So again, just observe the general place of where each of these colors are going. I do like this one because it is so bold with the primary colors. Picasso certainly had a very unique and distinct style. All right, doing good. And I recommend that everybody find regular painting outlets. It only gets better. All right, so same thing, using the back end of the brush for the rest of the necklace. And, oh, that's right, I think we're going to make a yellow-green, go back over the lines on her outfit, and then that will bring us into the conclusion of today's painting. So thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day, hanging out with me, getting creative. Like I said, don't wait too long to do your next painting. So until then, cheers. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the process of painting, and I hope you really like how your paintings turned out. I'm really proud of you for going through the process. As you're uploading these to social media, please tag me at or hashtag paintwithlovejoy, and definitely email me your photos, paintwithlovejoy@gmail.com. Share this with your community. When I post your photos on social media, it encourages so many other people that are scared to paint. It encourages them to give it a try. So you are really important in helping other people tap into their own creativity. So please share with your community. With that being said, again, when you want to take your skills to the next level, check out my online school, paintwithlovejoy.com, and check out that Paint Your Pet course. Because when you paint something that you love, you learn more, you put a little more energy into it, and you're pretty much pleased with the results. So give that a try. So I'm really grateful that you took time out of your day to hang out with me and get creative. Don't wait too long to do your next painting, and I look forward to painting with you in the future. Cheers.